Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 415, March News.
Welcome, citizens of Meeple Nation. For the next 30 minutes, sit back and enjoy.
Meeple Nation is sponsored by GameToppersLLC.com. We just went to SaltCon recently. We had a wonderful time. We had tons of people stopping by, looking at the amazing tables that we were playing on. Andy brought over 2 Minecrafts with us, and we had everything set up there. These huge gaming surfaces, beautiful mats, well-constructed tables. Tons of people stopping by asking where we got them and how they could get some. And the answer is GameToppersLLC.com.
We are your hosts of Meeple Nation. I am Logan Howard.
I am Eddie Holiday.
I'm Nathan Howard.
And I'm Dave Holiday.
Check out our website. It has lots of cool things like blogs, photos, links to episodes. Yes, we have bios on our website. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can email us at meeplenation@gmail.com. And if you've ever thought to yourself, wow, I have all this extra money burning holes in my pocket, what can I do with it? Come to Patreon, come support us. Let us know what you would want for a special feature. We've been in talks about stickers, bit containers. Let us know what interests you. We'd like to give a shout out to Ryan Hales and Lisa Hales, his sister, for becoming our latest supporters on Patreon.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you guys. And it was fun playing games with you at SaltCon.
Great to have somebody else come in from Seattle. Will wasn't there with us at this SaltCon, so we replaced one person from Seattle with another person from Seattle.
Do we have a criteria or something?
It feels like it sometimes, but we look forward to having both Will and Ryan at the same location so that we can confirm that they are not the same person.
So this week we are discussing March news. I know we're going to have a lot of highlights. We had SaltCon that we just finished with, and we ended up hosting 28 SaltCon events this year, which was a ton of events. Had a lot of fun with all the events that we hosted. Met some awesome people, Ryan and Lisa, at those events, and a bunch of other folks, and it was good times. Getting in my highlights, I was able to get both of my daughters, to go to SaltCon this year, and they both had a ton of fun. We did Tome Saga, one episode of Tome Saga each of the 3 days of SaltCon, and had a blast. We had played it prior to SaltCon, and I had fun, and I had just as much fun. Those 3 games are just amazing games. I am always willing to play them. I managed to get through SaltCon for the first time without buying a new game. I feel quite accomplished. That's like trying to leave Costco without spending over $100.
I almost did that, and then I came home with 7 games.
So I came home with 2 games. One was the freebie game that you get and signed in and everything. And then actually Ryan Hales was awesome. Came up, told me thank you for hosting Tome Saga, and handed me a game. That was an awesome surprise.
Correction, I forgot the game at the door. I came home with 8 new games.
Well, just stop trying to be better than me, Nathan.
As far as game collection comes, I got you.
Yeah, you do. I ain't keeping up. One of the games we hosted was Flying Goblin. And I wasn't sure how well it was going to go over with dexterity game. And honestly, I knew that kids that were signed up were going to have a ball, but the adults had just as much fun as the kids playing this. We played 2 different groups of Flying Goblin. James made a cool little Flying Goblin trophy that we handed out. And I think actually, Dave, your son won the trophy.
Yeah, he did. He was excited about it.
Dave's and my cousin Max Holiday, he had several new prototype games. I was able to play one called Neo Grimorium. Really liked it. Did you get a chance to play that?
I don't know which
David?
one that one was. Was
That
that
was-
the Card Crafter?
Yeah, it was a card crafter game.
Yeah, I loved it, actually. I thought it was great.
2 more highlights, and then I'm done with my highlights. Second to last is for Valentine's Day date night. We ended up going on a quadruple date and played 8-player Railroad Inc. Introduced some people that are not gamers to that game.
Who were those people?
Neighbors of my cousin Richie, the Wolfleys, and some people that I had known quite a while ago, but lived next to Richie, my cousin as well, the Johnsons. There were 8 of us. Wonderful thing about that game, as long as you have another copy of the game, it's a 4-player game, but you just add a copy and that adds 4 players, kind of like Scarabia does. They enjoyed it. My final highlight was starting our Pathfinder RPG. That has been super fun. We actually got Doug to roleplay with us in that. Having Doug in the group is a good time. I look forward to continuing our adventures in Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
My highlight, played a whole bunch of games. Played a 40-player werewolf Got to play with a whole bunch of the new roles that we got from the latest Kickstarter.
Ultimate Werewolf Extreme.
Some of these latest roles, I think my favorite was the old lady.
The old lady changed that game quite dramatically, and the way you put the seat in the middle as the old lady being exiled, I thought worked out great.
Yeah,
That was
so
awesome.
the old lady card in Werewolf, she's just a villager, but each night picks whoever made her angry, and then she banishes them from the village. And since we already had a large group, we just put a chair in the center, so they got to sit in the chair of shame. Glenda, she'll turn her chair around to make a dramatic pose about staring at people as they were just doing their thing because they weren't allowed to talk or participate or vote or be voted upon. That was my highlight. We tried the vampires and think we're going to alternate next time we come up to it so that way they work a little bit more cohesively. I can't wait to play again with more roles because we have so many roles now. Every SaltCon, I think we're going to be rotating out different things we're playing with. It's going to be fantastic. Back in February, on February 22nd, 2022, we had a fight night at Doug's house. We played a whole bunch of 2 versus 2, 2v2 games because it was 2-22-22. Amber Lee killed it. She won more games than I did. I showed up late. I only won twice. She came out with like 3 victories, so she got plenty of Kit Kats.
That was the prize, was Kit Kats?
Yes. Doug and Lydia bought some Kit Kat.
Double bubble, anything that was 2 or double or twin kind of themed. They got a bunch of
Twix,
stuff.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This last SaltCon, I scaled back from the stuff I had to host just a little bit, and I had time to do the painting miniature seminar tutorial thing, and it was awesome. I'm going to try to start getting into that. And then the last highlight is...
Hold on. Welcome, Logan.
Oh, thank you. The last highlight, which will be one of Nathan's highlight as well, is Ashley actually came. And for more than just to say hi to people, just like old times. It was fantastic.
It was great to see Ashley. It was awesome to have her out there again. I also had a great time playing games with Hug. I always look forward to that. Being at SaltCon, being at any of the cons, I'm really a social gamer, but I don't like the social games, right? So it's kind of a weird combo maybe. But I'm a social gamer, and so I love being there and hanging out with a bunch of friends. It was great. Speaking of Hug, thank you so much for teaching me Whistle Mountain. That was a super cool game. I don't know if any of you guys have played it.
I played it a long time ago when it first came out, but I haven't played it since.
Okay. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's one that we should play together. The con was a welcome break from school. I finally got to play Tidal Blades, and that was really cool. I got to meet some new friends. We already mentioned Ryan and Lisa Hales. Actually, more of their family, Vicky, Braden. Got to play quite a few games with them, and Brandon as well. They hung out quite a bit with us, and it was really, really cool. They're a great family. But I think the person I was most excited to see there was Adrian. Adrian's my wife, for those that don't know. I don't know how exactly I convinced her that she should come, but I did. She bought a ticket, and then she showed up.
It was Hug. It was not you.
You're probably absolutely right. I guarantee you're right. And then since she was coming, she said, well, should we get Jack a ticket? And Jack is our little 13-year-old. He had a great time. In fact, he told me today, he got home from school, and he told me, he's like, I convinced Max to come with me to SaltCon end of summer. So he's getting people excited about coming too. Nathan came down from Washington. Some other friends of ours up in Washington got to come down and have their first convention experience, Michael and Katie Bishop. It was awesome. That was super fun. Wanted to also give our very own Nathan Howard huge thanks and props for all of the work that he did, because he made SaltCon amazing for so many people. For us here, of course, but for so many of you guys and so many people who got to participate in a lot of the things that he put together, particularly the game show that Nathan did. Always does such an amazing job with that. No surprise that it was epic this year as well. I think my final highlight, which is kind of weird because I'm not the biggest fan of the game Skull. It's a good game, but it's not my type of game. But I had a lot of fun. I actually didn't even play. I was hosting the game, and I sat down to play, but then somebody else came and was like, oh, you're playing Skull? And so I gave up my seat and let them play. But just watching the family dynamic between Ryan and Lisa in particular was just awesome during that game. They are great gamers. They were after each other the whole time. It was really fun to watch.
Well, thanks, Dave. That's really nice of you to say about the game show and the events that we put together. Since we started going and running events, SaltCon's always been a highlight of my year. The game show has always been one of those biggest highlights. We've tried a couple of games. We go back and forth using a Family Feud-based game show versus the UK Pointless game show. Both of these games are loosely based on that. Huge thanks for Logan and James for helping out with that and made that event run so smooth. We came up with some questions in between scoring to eat up some of that time while we were tallying scores. Have one person doing those scores and updating it. I think it went superb. It was probably the best run game show that we have done at any of the cons.
And yes, those were the trivia questions or things like Google late at night when I can't sleep.
Great to run into people like the Hales, find friends like that will come to our events, and they'll come to multiple events. We formed those bonds. There's still people that didn't show up that we're still missing, like Jeremy and Darren we haven't seen for a while. It's always good to have Nathan Tenney come down. Great to meet Michael and Katie. It's just a good time to have those people with us.
Just to go off of your game show, Nathan, one of my highlights, we do teams of 4, but I love the random people that sign up and just walk up and are like, yeah, I'm by myself. And I'm like, sweet, there's people over here. And then just watching them have a blast during it.
Yeah, so we ran 2 events of the game show, and to go right on that, we had an older couple of guys, and by older, I mean they were closer to my age, and then we had 2 younger...
So really ancient?
Really ancient, yeah. They creaked when they walked, and they had dust on their shoulders. There was a group of younger kids that I would say in that 12 to 14 age range. So we're like, hey, we're trying to get teams of 4. You guys, these are these guys. So those 4 age diverse group got together, and they were actually the 4 that won. And those were the 4 that won. So it was just kind of funny that we put these odd people together. And by odd, I just mean that they didn't have a group. Maybe the age difference or whatever was able to get them to get those answers that gave them the least amount of points. The Pointless series is all about trying to get low points. Highly enjoyed that. And Logan did a great job with Werewolf. I didn't get to play, but we were involved in watching, and it's one of those games that I have a lot of fun just even watching. And we got to play a Salem that we played probably with too many people. 12 players, and it was a little bit difficult to hear the other side of the table, but I always love that game. Salem's a ton of fun. And I always look forward to playing that get together with Hug when we get together at SaltCon. That was a game that was kind of a surprise hit for us. It wasn't something that was on our radar, but we played it one year, and we've played it every year since. For sure, one of my highlights is meeting with old friends, especially those in Hug. I got to play some games with Julie, Dee Dee, Marissa, and Monique. Enjoy that time. Just enjoy a lot of the table talk that goes along with it, catching up. These are old friends. Feel like family. Played a game of Wingspan. This game of Wingspan went almost 3 hours. First time play for Sarah, Linda, Debbie, and James. I mean, everybody picked up on the game pretty quick, but there was so much discussion. For me personally, it was very therapeutic discussion. Just so nice to be able to have those relationships there at these conventions that you can get together with people and just have a great time. It was a very long game of Wingspan, but probably my most favorite game of Wingspan that I've ever played. It was so good to see our friend from Deeply Dapper. Chris McClanahan was there. Unfortunately, his wife wasn't there. She's suffering with some health issues, but it was so good to see him. If you're ever at a convention that he is there, I would suggest stopping by, checking out his wares. Got some treats that you can buy, great artwork, some material that he's created. Just a cool guy. And then another great thing, and unfortunately this was the last game of the con. I was probably more than a little bit grumpy at this point.
You were.
Yeah, I was. Nathan Tenney was super excited about this game. This game is Septet, designed by our friend Dustin Dowdle. So I really wanted to give this a full try. It was a really good game, but I was so grumpy.
It's definitely one we need to try again, not at midnight after 3 days of convention.
Absolutely. Trying to manage the cards that are in front of you and the cards that are available in the market row to monopolize getting sets that are going to give you points. To score those points, there has to be 7 of that particular color face up in front of players. You're trying to fight to get your color that you want to score in play. You want to have cards that are available to you in front of other players. if somebody else's color scores, that clears the board. Everybody's cards go away, so you're starting over again. When somebody was already grumpy, that was super frustrating. Overall, I think the game is really good, and I would totally love to give it another shot when I'm not so grumpy. And Andy, like you were talking about playing some of Max's games, I got the chance to play one of his games, Barely Balanced. Fun, simple circus game, trying to stack your acrobats. And you have your strong acrobats at the bottom, and you have lighter acrobats that are going to go on top of that. Very well done, I thought. I enjoyed playing that. I got some visitation rights to an old game of mine. I had sold a game to Sarah, and she bought it.
Wait, can you break that down and explain how that works to
So I
us?
sold a game to Sarah.
So I'm confused about why we need to know both of those things.
Well, because it's important, because I sold it, and she bought it.
Can't you just say, I sold it to Sarah? Period. Let's go on with her story.
I did.
Logan.
I sold it to Sarah, and she bought it.
She bought it. Logan.
Now let's go on with the story.
Now let's go on with the story. So I had sold her this copy of Raw 4 or 5 years ago. She had updated some of the pieces that were in it. It had some nice hard tokens that replaced the cardboard chits. She said, when you play this, you're going to wish you hadn't sold it to me. And she was right. It was an older game. I really had fun playing it again. Want to play it again. Hopefully when we get together sometime, we can play it again. And then I did get to revisit Red Rising without the fingers. The second play of Red Rising made me realize how much Red Rising is like Fantasy Realms. Hadn't really thought about it before, but it's really all about trying to score those cards in your hand that are going to give you the most benefit. You're going to draw a card from one stack, discard a card on another stack, and try to get the best use out of that hand. Great to have Ashley there. I tried really hard to get my wife there. Some of the Hug ladies were saying that they don't believe she exists. And I said, she hangs out with Logan's wife all the time.
For those of you who don't know, I don't have a wife. Doesn't exist. So there you go.
And I was able to pick up a game out of the game swap, but I wasn't planning on buying any games. But I did find a copy of Cloudspire, which has kind of been on the top of my list, so I was excited to find that. Did get to play Dominations, which is not an old game, but it's a little bit older. Domination, each player has a board in front of them. They keep track of their knowledge that they've gained. They have a tech tree that they're building out with cards. The tech tree is going to be completely different every time. In the center, where the shared game board, players are going to play these triangles, which are kind of like triominoes. They're going to match up on two of the sides, and you're going to match those up on the board and try to gain knowledge. What you're doing is you're building your civilization. These triangles represent camps, and then on those camps you can upgrade those to cities. You can upgrade that city twice to make it a larger city, try to monopolize and gain the most knowledge, and be able to produce the resources you need to develop the cities better. Dave, I think this is a game that you'll like a lot. Actually, I think all three of you will like this a lot. You didn't get the chance to play it with us that night, but this is a game I think you very much will all like. We also got the opportunity to play Cosmogenesis.
Basically, you were deity, the god that created the universe. That's kind of how I interpreted it, and so it was your job to take it and then simulate it. You had so many sectors in which you could do to progress to make human life. Mission tiles, upgrade planets by smashing asteroids into planets to make them bigger planets. It was actually really interesting. I really enjoyed that game. We need to get it to the table again.
I agree completely. Did get the opportunity for Dave to teach us how to play Dinosaur World. I know you guys had played it with Doug before. Dave taught Dinosaur World, played with James, and James has this novel idea that he wants to have as many of his patrons eaten. And so it was like he was purposely trying to get his patrons eaten.
He just loved the theme, the thematic idea of the dinosaurs eating the patrons.
Totally justify James. When I played the video game version of Dinosaur World, I get bored and delete fences and just watch the raptors go to town. So I totally get it. Totally get it.
Totally immersed in the theme, which worked for him, right? Dave, you still won, but...
it wasn't James?
No, James had very much had a moral victory, for sure.
Oh, yeah, because it guesses are negative points. I can't remember.
There's a scaling track.
Yeah.
Very fun game. I really enjoyed that. We got a chance to play Maglev Metro. The whole point of this game is route building, where you're trying to connect cities to resources, and you're doing pickup and delivery of resources, driving your train around these tracks that you've made to establish connections and gain those resources. And then my last highlight, and probably my greatest highlight, the one I'm most excited about, and maybe Andy isn't necessarily so excited about, but we started playing Seafall. Dave, Andy, and I. Currently I'm winning, but I think that cycle's going to end pretty quick here. I really enjoy this game. As far as legacy games go, this has been a very fun one for me. It's no Pandemic legacy, but it's right there on the tails of Pandemic for me. And I know a lot of people haven't liked it, but for me, I very much enjoy Seafall.
I think I would like the game substantially more if it weren't for the dice.
You say that dice hate you, and I mock you and say you're out of your mind. It's just roll the dice, but no, I think dice hate you.
I don't think there's any doubt of that. D6s hate me.
I have never seen a game go so poorly against you, and then when you roll for somebody else, it's like a huge benefit for them. And it's just when you roll for you.
Correct. Yep.
It was kind of amazing to watch. But I'm still loving the game. Andy, Dave, how do you feel about that?
Actually, I'm glad you brought it up. When I was talking about my highlights, I had completely forgotten about this.
If you tracked your games, you could find that.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I tracked my games and it wasn't one of my highlights.
But I'm really enjoying it. And this is a game that I was really looking forward to playing. Dennis, for quite a while, this was his favorite Legacy game until game 10 or 12 or something. And then something happened that he won't ever play it again now. I don't know what it is. I hope I find out.
I think he said he didn't like how it ended or something like that.
Well, it was before the end because he never
was...
finished it.
Oh, didn't he? I thought it was how it ended. Okay. I stand corrected.
Takes our highlights, and as always, the highlights take a bulk of our time here because we enjoy talking about the games we're playing and the people that we're playing with. As far as new game announcements that are coming out, there's a new game that I am super excited about. That is G.I. Joe Mission Critical. And so we've talked about my enjoyment of the G.I. Joe property, the impact that it was on my childhood. There's the G.I. Joe deck building game that's out there, but this G.I. Joe Mission Critical scratches a whole new itch. Adventure game, you're using miniatures, you're trying to solve and resolve missions. I haven't even played it yet, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm hoping that excitement continues after I've played it. And that's a game released by Renegade Games.
I am very excited for it as well.
I look forward to crime and murder and mystery. Put them all together. It's a good time. 5-minute mystery and That Time You Killed Me. Those definitely sound like games that are up my alley.
So That Time You Killed Me, you and your opponents are rival time travelers, Logan. So this is great. Travel through time trying to erase each other from history. The theme of this really has me excited too. I'm looking forward to it. Trying to prove that you are the one true inventor of time travel. You must use your invention to find your enemy in time and murder them. It satisfies your itches and it satisfies mine.
Very much so. Murdering friends, it's all good.
It's an abstract narrative game of time and murder that introduces new scenarios with unique rules and components as you play. Mucking about across time, you must play through this content in a strict, unalterable order. I think this is going to be good times. I'm looking forward to it. It's on the shelf back there. Can't wait to pull it off the shelf, take the cellophane off of it, and put it back on the shelf, and wish we had played it.
Well, we have Corey now.
Corey has been exceptional at learning new games for us and teaching us. Also, talking about Corey, we just recently sent Corey home with Ankh, Gods of Egypt. This is a game that was recently on Kickstarter and is now in distribution. And I told myself I was never going to buy another Cool Mini or Not game just because the fact that it's tough to get everything that isn't the Kickstarter exclusive. And if you were the Kickstarter exclusive, it was a ton of money. The amount of games that we buy and we play, I could not justify another Cool Mini or Not game. But I decided on this one. Looking forward to playing that. Playing as a god of ancient Egypt. Competing to survive as society begins to forget the old ways. Only you and your followers remain. You build caravans, summon monsters, and confront followers in your quest to reign supreme.
But this is a game that Will Ferguson, our friend up in Seattle, he's a fan of, and he was going to teach this to me at BryceCon, but we never got a chance. It's one I'm looking forward to as well.
I was walking by some tables and obviously backed everything on Kickstarter. They had some very cool miniatures. cool mini or not, definitely focuses on that. But I'm looking forward to hopefully the game being awesome, and we'll see. And Corey has been gracious enough to take that home, learn it. Hopefully we'll be playing that on Thursday.
Logan, you mentioned that you're excited for crime-solving games. Batman-themed crime-solving game.
I like crime. I like solving them. But Batman...
You don't like Batman? Logan.
There's so much better superheroes out there. Okay, I get like, I'm a good guy. I can't kill people. But how many lives would have saved if I just killed the Joker instead of just put him in the asylum and got him mad and let him out?
So we digress.
I don't think he let him out.
No, he did.
Oh, okay.
It was him
My
or
bad.
Alfred. Somebody did.
Been a slow night, sir. I let Joker out.
It was a little bit more British, but yes, that's how it happened.
Everybody Dies is a Batman-themed game, cooperative narrative storytelling game, crime-solving deduction game for 2 to 4 players, set in the rich lore of Batman Comics universe. Players take on the roles of 4 key investigators: instinctive journalist Warren Spacey, tenacious reporter Vicky Vale, brutish detective Harvey Bullock, or the cunning Catwoman, drawn into a series of mysterious events unfolding in Gotham City. Throughout the game, players cooperatively make decisions running the investigation and trying to solve a series of challenging cases. Visit famous locations from Gotham City, the Batcave, Arkham Asylum, Blackgate Penitentiary, and Gotham City Gazette. Cross paths with well-known Batman characters like Batman himself, the Penguin, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Scarecrow, and more, while trying to chase leads, identify suspects, and gather enough information to help save Gotham City. The game also adds a brand new hidden agenda mechanic, which assigns secret goals and unique win conditions for each player based on which DC character they portray. I think it's interesting that you were playing a Batman game and not playing as Batman.
I do like that. We play Big Trouble in Little China, and people gravitate towards those key characters like Jack Burton. And this is where it is a Batman game. If you're in Gotham, you have that opportunity to run into Batman, but not be playing as Batman. And so I think for that, again, going back to my enjoyment for Imperial Assault, you don't play as those key characters. You don't play as Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or anything like that. But you have the opportunity to run into them.
When it comes to a storytelling game and games where you're making decisions, I feel like with the main characters, that story's been told. Playing characters that are not known or unique to the game even, for me, it makes it more enjoyable. Along the same lines as you, Nathan. It's more enjoyable to me because it feels like I'm creating the story and it's not me rewriting the story of some superhero that we already know or some character like you mentioned in Star Wars. I think it's far more enjoyable and immersive to feel like you're actually that character and that's a new story that's being told.
Yeah, that will actually get me to play the game more.
There we go. Logan's now a fan. That was easy.
Our news episode always seems to run on a little bit long, so we're just going to nip it right there and try to talk about some more of these games later. Maybe on another news episode as we catch up, or we'll talk about new stuff that we've seen coming out. We're super excited to have been able to participate in SaltCon. SaltCon summer event was canceled due to scheduling of the buildings, so end of summer is in September over the Labor Day weekend. We will have our Hug a Meeple Con that we're excited to have, that we're again going to be able to meet with Hug. Hopefully we'll have another opportunity to discuss some games with them in our next news episode. Maybe some of their favorites or whatever else we decide to discuss that day. We'll look forward to that. Hopefully we will be at BGG Con later this year. Looking forward to that. Some opportunities there.
Until next time.
We'll see you at the game table. And hopefully at a convention near you.
As always, we want to thank you for listening.
Check out our website. We have all sorts of cool things there. Love those blogs. Get a deeper look into the writing side of Meeple Nation.
Join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. I look forward to seeing you there.
Follow us on Twitter @Meeple Nation. We also have Instagram.
Under the same name. We also want to thank our sponsor, GameToppersLLC.com.
We love their product. There's so much goodness out there.
And we also want to thank Braden Detergent for our music.
Meeple Nation podcast episode. Meeple Nation. Shut up, Dave.
I suck at this.
Check out our website. It has lots of cool things like blogs, photos, links to episodes, bios.
Biles?
Bios.
No, that's what you got in your throat. Right?
Bios. Yes, we have bios on our website.
Even though I tried to give the prizes to someone else, because those were the those were the four that won.
It did it again after I let you.
Oh, did it? I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
We also got the chance to try Meg Love Metro.
Maglev.
You know what? Shut your face.
Is it?
We got a chance to play Maglev Metro, which is Maglev. Which shut up, Dave.
I hadn't made a sound yet. I was trying.
You're gyrating like one of those little kid toys.
You got excited and cheerful. Let him redo his introduction.
I know, right?
This is a recent from Kickstarter. Kickstarter.
I like it.
Throughout the game, players cooperative through that. I'm Nathan right now.
Exciting for us. We'll have our Hubble Bubble Meeplecon. But we have our Hubble.
Oh crap!
One more time. Pull Logan with mariposas.
Good night, Ryan. Good night, Lisa.
Yeah, that's so creepy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.